Yo, 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 what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host, the most Renaissance man, who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard Streams for another edition of the Smackdown Breakdown, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. Can't go that high. Still hurt. And I'm not just talking to me, Patty P, myself in the stream here. I am joined alongside, as always, the best of the West you can't forget about. Sarah Marshall. Was popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
What's going on? How you doing?
Fine.
We living on this fine ass Saturday night. Got that Saturday night fever?
No, I just want to go to bed. I want to go sleep.
Yeah, it's been exhausting. I've been up since 3:40 this morning. So I had a dog fit last night for my best gal pal, and the dog was awesome. I'm really becoming, I wouldn't say a dog lover, but a dog ally. Because it was easy. I didn't have to clean up poop, didn't have to feed it. All I had to do was just really let it outside so it could do number 2 in the yard, or number 1.
Are you not a dog person?
I didn't grow up with them.
Okay.
I didn't grow up with them. They would be across the street because I live across the street from a park. So I would see them then and interact with them then. But no, my parents are not dog people. Well, my mom isn't. My dad is, but my mom isn't.
Got it.
So yeah. Enough of me and dogs. We got to hear from the peeps. Michael thought that story was awesome. Thank you so much, Michael, for that. What's up, Bernard? How you doing? Vinny is here. Hi, Nathaniel. And the Lakers beat the Sixers. Actually, awesome.
That we can celebrate.
I'll celebrate with you. That's hilarious.
Aren't they like 1-7 this season or something like that?
Sixers?
The Sixers are really bad. Yeah.
They're 1-7.
There's something. I'll have to look. They're really bad.
My
well,
God,
Embiid isn't
so
playing because then he also just got suspended.
Yeah, he shoved a media person.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, he kind of deserved it. So.
I don't know the story, so I'm not taking sides.
He talked about, like, I don't remember if it was like wanting to play good basketball for his brother who passed away or something like that, and how like he needs to be playing better if he wants to make him proud or something like I don't remember. It was something crazy about his family or his son. It was something crazy, and so that Embiid was like reacted. And yes, they're 1-7. They're 1-7.
Oh my God, I just want to. That's terrible. Deidre?
Yeah, but
Deirdre.
it seems like he's on someone else's account. So
well, you know what? I'm happy that you're finding a way to watch this, whether you are on your device or someone else's. I just love people watching. Ayo to David. Let me see if there's any more. Sophia, hope you see you soon. Oh, thank you so much. Hope to see you soon too. Kind of injured, so don't know when that's gonna happen again. Well, yeah, I take that back. I'll be doing legs, just nothing with the arm. I can't move it. I try to lift, so idiot me, but this is why I am the champ of the peeps. Okay, I had to grab something at work because no one was around. Everyone left for the day, and I had to grab something to leave for the driver. I took my arm out of my sling and lifted this heavy fish tote that was probably over 20 pounds, whatever. Shouldn't have done it. It wasn't heavy if I didn't have a shoulder problem. It's really not that heavy. So I got it, no problem. But walking away and that pain, oh my God, I wanted to, I was so mad at that point. Point is, if someone tells you not to lift something, don't do it.
Yeah.
That is a message from the champ. Old man Mob, good to see you, pal. Good to see
Hello.
you. Yes. Whatever that image is, yes. And the
Hello.
final boss has graced us with his presence. Love it. Love it. Sarah, did you love SmackDown last night? Because I don't know if I loved it.
I actually think it was a little bit better than the past couple of weeks, but I think obviously the focus was progressing storylines. So I think that was probably why a lot of people weren't too fond of it. And then if you also take into account like a 20-25 minute segment to start the show and then like an equal segment to end the show, that's nearly an hour of the entire show not containing wrestling. So
Exactly.
I think that's another issue that people had, which again, fickle. People are fickle. I feel like it
Are
doesn't
you
matter.
talking about the fickle pickles?
Yeah, it does. I feel like it doesn't
Fickle
matter what
pickles.
they do. There's always going to be complaints. Like that's just how life is. Like I get it. But people have been wanting to see a reunion with the bloodline, the OG bloodline, and then they're starting to do it. They wanted Sammy to be back with the bloodline. They're starting to do it, but they complained because it took too long. It's like that kind of stuff is the thing that I'm like, okay, now we're just getting into being like picky about what you want to see and what you don't want to see, or like, oh, I wanted to see that, but like not like that, like
Yeah. No, you
that's when it
can't
just
you,
gets a little crazy to
you
me.
can't always get what you want. All right, we have to realize that. And I think it's a brilliant idea for what they're doing with this, with just not having match after match after match every week and letting the story progress. Sometimes you need an episode like this. So
We're
when they actually
actually
do fight, you get some substance.
But we're going to be getting a lot of this over the next 2 months because Royal Rumble isn't until like the first weekend of February. So after Survivor
Sure. Oh,
Series, this is what we're going to get a lot of because they're not going to want to do too much before the Royal Rumble. It's like you might want to set some groundwork for feuds, but unless they already know who they want to win the Rumble, it's like you can't make too many feuds that would be good for Mania in November, December. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's like we're gonna get a lot of these filler type
Mhm.
Smackdowns and Raws because there's so much time between Survivor Series and the Royal Rumble. I mean, that's how it is every year, but I
Mhm.
think people forget that like it's not going to be really good at the end of the year because they can't let it be really good at the end of the year. It needs to start basically at the Rumble, like
You
leading
have
up
to
to the
have that.
Rumble. We're going to get a really good debut episode of on Netflix, or at least we suspect it to be.
It's being hyped
and
up. It's being
and
hyped up.
then from the Rumble on is when we should be getting better episodes of Raw and SmackDown. But again, not super great because you also can't do too much before Mania because you need to save your best for Mania. So it's like we're in that period where they have to teeter a line. So
They're
it's
doing a lot of live events too. They just
mm-hmm,
went on that European live tour. From a business standpoint, you want to do more stuff that protects the talent,
mm-hmm.
So you have to do shows like that where it
Yeah.
just is a lot of talking and it's a lot of back and forth to
Well,
build up the future matches.
what's the number one story on SmackDown? It's the Bloodline. So yeah, it's gonna probably dominate the show for the most part. Like
Yeah, exactly.
that's just how it is at this point. But I feel like they still were doing enough of other things. I mean, I would say like the main problems that I have is when like LA Knight isn't even on SmackDown. Like that's kind of annoying. And it is probably because of these prolonged segments of the bloodline, and that they're kind of just given a green light to go ahead and do whatever they want, as we saw with The Rock, where the Rock just went out and he went over by like 20 minutes and it was like, yeah, no big deal. It's like, no, it is a big deal because
Yeah.
then you're taking other people off the show, you're taking money out of their pocket. That's not okay. So
Mhm.
instances like that is when I am not like thrilled about it. Um but
Yeah,
yeah.
me either. So let's just jump right in. We're already
Okay.
Gotta talk about it. So let's just
So so at the beginning of SmackDown, of course, we deal with some of the bloodline because Jay had invited Sammy to come to SmackDown because apparently now he's allowed to just go to Raw and SmackDown, and we're just supposed to be like, cool.
Bloodline rules. All
I
right,
know,
bloodline
but
rules.
whatever. But Jay wanted to do this in an attempt to kind of like get the family back together. So Jay comes out, does some talking, whatever. We get the bloodline in the ring, the OG bloodline. Sammy comes out, and Sammy just tries to explain his actions, obviously from Crown Jewel, because that was unsettled since Jimmy was convinced that Sammy did it on purpose, to which Roman felt that way also, which it still boggles my mind. I just have to live in the WWE universe because of my brother. You could have watched back that film and you would have seen that it wasn't on purpose, but
you gotta live. Yeah,
we're in that WWE world. And Sammy, this is the thing that I love. So I wasn't as excited about Sammy getting back into the bloodline stuff as a lot of people, but I loved when Sammy, I think the bloodline stuff with Sami Zayn is some of my favorite stuff in WWE, like of the past like 5 years, or maybe even arguably like the last 10 years. Like that moment in time, however many months it was just so good because Sammy is so funny. I love watching the compilation videos of the bloodline breaking character because of Sammy, and the fact that he jumped right into it again, like
he's so good. He's
serious.
Master.
Yes, being serious, obviously, because this conversation was meant to be taken seriously, but getting right back into making them break. And so I loved that. I loved that Roman did it too. Like, not even, you had to really be looking at him.
I missed it.
Notice.
I'm not gonna lie. I missed it the first time.
You had to really be paying attention, but I loved it. Jay was like immediately there too, which is good because I'm like, he's a babyface now, so he can just stand there and laugh.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah. So I loved this, and this was just the beginning because at the start, Roman and Jimmy were not interested in this at all because it was like, Sammy's not family. This is not okay. Like, I still don't believe that this wasn't intentional from Crown Jewel. And Sammy had made it clear that he was basically only there in the first place to help Jay. So it wasn't like he was really furthering like, oh, I'm here to help all of you. He made it very clear it was for Jay. So I like that they kind of went off of that at first, and then we waited until the end, which I guess we can talk about that at the end if you want. He got back with the bloodline, that became official.
Yeah, let's just go right into it.
Okay, so by the end, of course, the bloodline, they clash at the end of the show, of course. And Solo wants Roman to acknowledge him. Obviously, that's not going to happen. They go back and forth about who's tribal, Ula Fala is bigger than the other, you know what I'm saying? And
go on. That was a good one. That was really good.
And once they start brawling all over Roman, they get, everybody comes out. Sammy comes out to help as well. And that is when we get that like ending shot of like, oh, they're all in the ring together. And so
it was so cinematic. Just it was very super heroic. Like the one hero and then the other, and then Roman and Sammy do the look at each other. They throw the ones at each other, and then right into the hard cam, they throw up the one for the perfect poster shot. Oh, I loved it. That was a good way to end that episode. I thought that was a good.
What I find interesting, and someone already said it in the chat.
Oh, smart peeps.
I don't remember who said it. Oh, it's Old Man Mob. I saw more than one person saying this, so it's not just Old Man Mob saying this, but what I thought was interesting was people have been clamoring for Sammy to reunite with the Bloodline because we knew that we were going to get OG Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0. And because of that, people were like, all right, well, OG Bloodline is outnumbered, so they're going to need another person, assuming it's going to be 4-on-4, but we're going to get to that in a second. And now that he's back, people are questioning if Sammy is going to remain loyal to the OG bloodline because of everything that has led up to him, I guess, finally being fully embraced again. Because we have to remember there was the kick to Roman, which in wrestling could very easily become, yeah, he did that on purpose. You know, he might be trying to convince us and everybody that it wasn't on purpose, but in wrestling world, he can, if he were to turn heel eventually, he could definitely say he did it on purpose. We saw that he had a meeting with Solo. It took him like what, a week or 2 weeks to finally be like, no, Solo, we're not doing this. You know, that's when he finally like came out and helped Roman on
When he kicked
SmackDown.
him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
That was a
And
great moment. I like that when he teased, oh, he's gonna kick Roman, and then left kick right to the head. Oh,
well, and then he's best friends with Kevin Owens, who is beefing right now with the bloodline.
that's an
So
issue.
it's
That is an issue.
interesting to me that people think that he might turn on them. Do you think there's any like credibility to that potential claim of that, like to see that actually happen?
I believe that it's a logical thought to have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to disparage the thought.
Mm-hmm.
The likelihood it's happening, that's where I will disagree. I don't see it happening because of the speech that Sammy gave.
Mm-hmm.
It was very nostalgic. It really hit home and brought back a lot of memories to the point where, or to the memory of Sami Zayn being so in on the bloodline that he turned on the only blood he had in WWE with Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't make sense for him to turn. And so I don't see it being possible. I'm on the side of seeing The Rock be entered back into this and being on Team Bloodline 2.0 before Sami Zayn turns his back on the OG Bloodline.
Because I think it would be interesting, but my idea is that I find it hard to imagine them turning him heel. Because I think he's on like a good babyface run right now. And I also think it would be kind of silly to turn him heel because at the end of the day, he's on Raw. So if they're going to turn him heel to insert him as a bad guy into this bloodline storyline, it doesn't make sense unless they traded him to SmackDown also, because otherwise he's going to turn heel and then just be on Raw, and then has, you know, the people he turned on are going to be on the other show. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then we would have to think like, oh, okay, so Sammy is getting traded to SmackDown and Jey Uso. Like, that's a lot of star power to be taking off Raw to SmackDown.
This isn't the NBA. Like, you're not just making trades left and right like this.
Yeah. So I don't think that that's going to happen. But what I want to talk about this too, because this was a part of it. And I have theories because I see some of you guys talking about it already. I see Jackson talking about War Games. I want to talk about it.
War Games.
So part of the conversation at the end of the show was Solo, you know, talking to Roman and saying, you know, you're going to need to go and find 4 people so that you can go against us and our 5. And Roman's like, there's 4 of you. And Solo tried to claim like, oh, they have Sammy. Obviously this was before Sammy did not choose to be on their side. So that evens the score of 4-on-4. But him even mentioning that there were going to be 5, that stood out to me, because I still think it's a possibility that we get 5-on-5. Right now, it looks like we're going to get 4-on-4 for Survivor Series. However, we're going to talk about the whole Kevin Owens thing that happened. So it doesn't look like we're getting Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton at Survivor Series like we had previously talked about, because it's like we never got that at Crown Jewel. So the obvious next step is to have it at the next PLE. So this looks like we could either get Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens, and then the War Games match stays at 4-on-4. Or, as Jackson said in the chat, we could go completely crazy and say it's 4-on-4, but at the end, The Rock comes out as like the last guy on Team Bloodline 2.0. That would be huge, right? Because that could be like, oh, who's he coming out to help? right? And you think maybe he's coming out to help Roman. No, he turns and he's on Bloodline 2.0. Or the theory that you guys have hated coming from me for the past, month or two is still plausible. Now that Randy Orton is gone indefinitely, because you guys didn't see, WWE posted that he suffered some sort of like spinal injury, which we're going to talk about the Kevin Owens thing. So he's going to be out indefinitely, which means he's going to be gone probably until Royal Rumble. That's my guess. That leaves Kevin Owens open. That leaves Cody Rhodes open. Kevin Owens, who's his best friend? Sami Zayn. What did Sami Zayn just do?
Join the Bloodline OG again.
What does that mean for Kevin Owens?
Complete insanity.
Kevin could easily join Bloodline 2.0. Not even because he agrees with them, is cool with them. It's going to be similar to what I would say is like the Drew McIntyre situation with Judgment Day. They have a common enemy. That's the only thing that they are seeing eye to eye about. I don't like you. I don't want to be on your team, but we have the same hatred for the same people. So we're going to just be cool tonight. But after this, we're not. That feels like what Kevin could do to go against Sami. And then how else do you get Cody involved? Cody joins Bloodline.
Of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. So I could see that happening. And I really think that if they're trying to put Kevin Owens even more over the top as a bad guy beyond what we've already seen of what he did on SmackDown earlier in the night, what better way than to have him go and join Bloodline 2.0, beat up Sami Zayn, go against Jey Uso, Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, potentially in this scenario, Cody Rhodes. Like, this dude would be getting Dom level heat. Or more, because people would actually because he'd be going after even more of the most beloved figures in wrestling. I think that's genius, because I also don't know if I really even see Cody defending the title at Survivor Series. I think he could handle being in the War Games match and it not be defending the title. I think that's fine.
War Games is big enough where it doesn't need the show does not need a title match.
And if you put Roman and Cody and Jay and Sami
you're doing a job. Team, you did the job. You did the job.
So
you did the job you needed to.
Yeah, star power. That's all they would want, you have all the big figures. And then you could still have The Rock involved in some way, because I highly doubt if The Rock shows up, and even if this isn't what happens, Kevin and Cody, I don't think he's going to be wrestling. I think if he shows up, it's going to be exactly what we've seen before. Maybe he talks, maybe he doesn't. He's just going to be a presence. I don't see him actually getting physical. But I would actually love the 5-on-5 scenario. I don't know if anyone else would. But I don't know. Yes, there were. Yeah, we talked about this, how they were talking, the Lance is signed. Zilla is potentially coming.
Zilla. I'm obsessed with Zilla after Limitless.
There's definitely that scenario. I like my scenario better. What do you think about that scenario? Because you haven't said anything about Kevin and Cody.
I like it. For War Games. It makes sense to me. That's why I haven't really spoke up, because you'll obviously yield to redundancy. The more likely scenario in my eyes is the 4-on-4, but the hinting, I'm intrigued because he did hint it. He did put it out there into the WWE universe that they had 5 and they had 3.
Mm-hmm.
And with everything that's going on right now, you could do KO Cody at Survivor Series, but with the recent news that just came out about Cody's reign being more than amazing in the eyes of WWE higher ups, it's very unlikely they're going to take the title off him, which you have a match because there is the chance that he could obviously lose it, whatnot. And it makes the most sense right now. The Bloodline story is going to be the A story as of now, whenever they are on television, because it look at where it got them. The Bloodline story basically carried us into this new era, from the rock bottom Vince era to Papa Paul. So it's going to be that they're going to make it the biggest it can be. And it's also the biggest story because DJ's in the Bloodline. The Rock is sitting on the board. He wants to be involved in any opportunity that WWE will have him in. That report came out as well.
Or force himself in.
Well, that's for opinions. So
no, was proven true.
All right. So because of that, you don't need to have an undisputed title match on a card.
Yeah, because they'll do it at Rumble.
And they'll do it at Rumble.
That's a big match.
It's a big match. And War Games itself is already a huge match. It's 2 rings in a cage. Like, are you serious?
You know what I would kind of love too? I would almost love it if we did get maybe or even at Netflix debut, I guess it could be Kevin versus Cody.
See, that makes sense. You do both world titles.
Well, I guess that wouldn't happen because they're on SmackDown, but I guess it depends. Maybe they'll bring SmackDown
first 3 hours SmackDown, because that's coming
supposedly. But okay, so what I was gonna say is I would also kind of love if we got Cody versus Kevin at the Rumble, but the men's Rumble is the main event, and Kevin doesn't beat Cody, but he enters himself into the Rumble, and that's wins. When he comes face to face. No, that's when he comes face to face with Randy. Like, that's when they finally see each other for the first time, because I assume Randy's going to return at the Rumble. That's my guess. But that would be, because like we've seen that before, where like they'll have a title match and then they're in the Rumble. I think that would be an easy
Kurt Angle did it.
That would be an easy way to get the Kevin and Randy thing going. Yeah. But also I still think that we might see Cody versus Randy at Mania. So stuff like that we can talk about that maybe on the Thursday show.
Yeah.
But I still think that's a possibility.
I'm with you there.
No, that's not happening. This is not happening, sir. He's not beating Cody for the title. It's not happening.
Okay, even I'm not that delusional.
The Rock cannot be walking around with a title.
What? He already has one, Sara.
He has his fake title. He can be. I don't think Rock Roman needs a title. The whole thing again is about the Ula Fala. It's about being the true tribal chief. That's what it's all about. And what signifies that is the Ula Fala. So I don't think that they need that title. And I also don't think we need a 50-something-year-old Rock who's not going to be able to be around constantly to be the champion, like especially the champion. I don't think he should be champion.
Era. It's a different era.
They can't do it. They can't.
I want to see John Cena become champion.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
I want to see John Cena become champion before The Rock.
I think it's it's kind of funny to look at this as like the final boss is saying that he's going to beat Cody. I'm going to come back and beat Cody.
He's talking in first person. Maybe DJ's in the chat.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
It's his burner. Anyway, all right. Moving on to some of the women's stuff.
Oh, stop moving.
It looks like the Indy Hartwell release, which she said she was blindsided by the way, which makes me so sad.
So were the fans.
So I know, but like I thought that she wasn't being serious with her tweet when she like quoted it and was like, wait, what? Like she didn't know. And it was like, oh, she's just joking, right? Like, no, she said in a video like she had no idea that she was getting released because she had been on TV like every week. And I was like, oh, that's so fucked up. Like I thought we were going to be beyond an era like that. But see, this is the thing that I have a problem with news outlets, dirt sheets and stuff like that. It's the same thing I have with like TMZ, right? Which is, I guess, is kind of like the equivalent. I hate when they release information that they get from sources before the person involved in what you're talking about is told. That's the thing that I hate. So it's like, even if it was reliable because it came from Fightful and whatever, that Tegan Knox, Baron Corbin, and Indy Hartwell were going to be let go, I hate that they probably released that before they were told. All of them were told. That's the part that I hate. But whatever. Anyway, so Candice LeRae has been getting featured far more recently, which we'd love to see, because if you are not familiar with Candice LeRae, she is far better than what we've been seeing from her on the main roster. And she's appearing to finally be getting like a singles push
Thank
now that she's
God.
not tied down into a tag team, which wasn't a problem, obviously, because they'd been on TV and everything this week, past weeks. But I think it was made clear we are seeing her, and she's going to be in the world women's title picture sooner rather than later, which I think is really exciting, because one thing that we kind of talked about when we were talking about the what's her name, Zeta, the girl that was signed by WWE
Zeta
ID,
Steel.
and we were saying she's a tiny girl, she's 5'4". We need to see more of the smaller girls be shown in like serious ways on WWE TV, because
Exactly.
part of the problem that people have, I would say, with Liv Morgan is that she's small, she's petite, she can't take down a Rhea Ripley, she can't take down a
Yeah.
Nia Jax. And I get it, but at the same time, when you look at it from the men, Big Show got taken down by plenty of people much smaller than him throughout his career, and people did not question it. I mean, Rey Mysterio beat him and stuff. So it's like, why is it that the women are treated so differently? Like Nia Jax, yeah, she needs to be built up to be considered a
monster.
strong, dominant female, but you can't then do the polar opposite to the smaller girls simply because they're smaller. You know, like, how is that an equal division? So the fact that they are going to be pushing someone like Candice LeRae, who obviously is a tiny girl, I'm excited about it beyond what I know she's capable of, because I think that we need to be able to see some of these smaller girls and what they can do, because like we've seen it before with like AJ Lee. She was a tiny girl and she was one of the best of her era. I
Look how
want to
many
see that
people she
more.
inspired. Like literally, look how many future, and not even future, but current world champs she
Mm-hmm.
has inspired. So
Yeah.
I don't see why not. Like I had a point, I kind of forgot it, but
Oh.
yeah, keep going. Oh, in their match last night, I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
The match last night with her and Bailey was really good.
Mm-hmm.
A really solid showing by
Bailey's
both
a good
them.
one to work with. That's why too.
Bailey said on the "What You Want to Talk About" thing with Cody Rhodes
Mm-hmm.
that she loves Candice LeRae and wants to see her get her moment in the sun,
Mm-hmm.
which is it was all because I heard that it was a full circle moment when they were squaring off against each other
Yeah.
last night. So
Yeah. I think that's gonna be cool, and I think it's good. SmackDown's women's roster is big enough to do that, because I would love to see this more on Raw. Obviously, we've said it so many times that
we
they're,
literally talked about on Thursday how
yeah, it's not
lopsided.
equal at all, their divisions on Raw and SmackDown. So hopefully, because of the move to Netflix and stuff, like we're going to see a shift with the draft or something, so that they can be a little bit more equal, or they're going to bring up more women to fill out the Raw roster, but they actually have to like do things with them, because I mean, they brought up Lyra and we're not seeing her, you know, so it's like you can bring them up, but if you're not
She
going to use
injured?
them. Huh?
Lyra injured?
No, because wasn't she just in the Battle Royal last week?
No, but was I knew okay, but wasn't she injured for a bit?
I have no
When
idea. I don't
I
know.
thought they
But
wrote her off for an injury or something. Yeah, she was the
maybe.
last one eliminated
Yeah.
in the Battle Royal, but it felt like
So
for a while.
they're definitely going to have to do
So
something, but it's going to be interesting to see how they go about it if the rumors are true about SmackDown going to 3 hours, because they then can't pluck too many girls from that division to go to Raw. But they do have to take some of them, because there is way too many like main event girls on SmackDown and like none
way
on
too
Raw.
many.
It's like it just does not work.
No. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So all right, let's move on to Kevin is right. Kevin is right.
Damn right. Dude, you're fucking right, he is, Sarah. All right.
So
He's right.
Kevin Owens is an absolute menace. I love Randy Orton, okay? I've met him a few times. Like, he's one of my all-time favorites, so I'm not shitting on him. But this storyline with Kevin Owens, I'm sorry, but when a heel is an absolute menace, it's like one of my favorite things ever, because to me it's so old school, and it's not something that we get a lot with today's heels, because they either have a hard time conveying it believably, or they just like don't do it at all, like, or it's like 1 week they do it and then after that it's like, okay. No, I love that Kevin Owens is an absolute menace and that he is just a wrecking ball to everything. So it was only a matter of time that we saw that he took it too far with Randy Orton, and that's what he did, because you said it was going to happen at Crown Jewel. It just took a few more days, took 6 more days for it to happen, but we saw the pile driver to Randy Orton, who we know had spinal fusion surgery, so you don't do that. You don't do it. You don't do that to Randy, but he did. And now we're saying, or Randy's at the hospital, which is what he said. He didn't say local medical facility.
I popped. No, I popped.
So what is interesting about this is my belief is that this isn't over. Obviously, Randy's probably going to be out until Rumble, potentially Netflix debut, but I still feel like that might be too early, because that's less than 2 months away. Like, if we're supposed to actually believe that he's got like a fucked up spine, then like to me that's too early. But we'll see. I think we're going to see more between Kevin and Cody, and I think we could get a heel Randy Orton when he returns. I want to see heel Randy Orton come back. I want to see Randy be pissed at Cody for what happened to him, and I want to see a build up between Cody and Randy. So Randy for Royal Rumble winner, baby. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Everything you said except that last sentence, I totally agree with.
We talked about this. You said you thought it was a good idea.
Good idea, but it's not what I want.
Rude. So who do you want to win the Rumble then?
Kevin Owens. To
face Cody at Mania?
Oh, no. Who do I want to win? I would rather Kevin Owens over Randy. No, I don't know.
I was going to say, Randy versus Cody has to happen at Mania.
It's okay. To my point.
Okay.
Is I saw something to go off of your point. This is where I was going. I saw something on Twitter where if Randy Orton comes back, we saw the pile driver get hit. We banned move, which they said multiple times. I love how they said banned move. I loved how they were introducing that. What has been a quote unquote banned move for a bit that's in Randy Orton's arsenal is the punt. So if we're going to see the pile driver, you need to feed us the Randy Orton punt at some point. That would elevate this to a new level.
That would, actually. I want to see like shades of 09 Orton.
That's one of them. That's one of the shades of the Viper.
But not bald. I don't miss bald Randy Orton. And bald, like,
that looked like demon. That was demon.
But he was also like super lean, and now he's like puffed up. So that would be even scarier.
Jacked up.
That would be even scarier.
That'd be terrible. Like that would be like Punisher-esque.
Yeah, that would be.
God,
but terrifying. I do have to address the fickleness. We talked about it briefly before we went live. I have
pickle alert. Pickle alert.
I have to say that I saw so many people online that were in some of the bigger streamers that, in the wrestling community.
Do we want to call out names?
The one that I saw it from was Con Man. I just saw a clip of it. The Con Man, the ginger.
I like Con Man. I watch his reaction videos.
He was siding with Kevin. And I'm not even saying I don't know I don't know what his stance was about the bloodline, so I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I saw other people who were on Twitter and stuff saying, like, Kevin is right. That's right. Like, I agree with him. He's not wrong. Where were all these people when we were talking about Drew McIntyre and CM Punk? That's what I want to know. Why was Drew McIntyre wrong when it was just common sense? That's all. That's all I have to say. I just think it's funny. Depends on the person. You guys love you some, Roman Reigns, but you don't mind, whatever. I don't care.
That feels like an issue, not just
No,
me. So I
they
don't have to.
they love
I don't
Randy
have anything to
Orton.
weigh in.
They love Randy Orton, but they don't mind saying that Kevin is right. So it can't be like, oh, well, we love CM Punk. Yeah, okay, but if Drew McIntyre was right, can't you say that he was right too? Do you see what I'm saying? That's okay. More Drew McIntyre for me, BB. So that's fine.
Yeah, you go.
Whatever.
You get it. Yeah, you go. You go get it.
What Comcast is like a cable company.
I don't even know what they are anymore.
Well,
At
it's a
this
cable
point.
company, but
Yeah, no shit.
at the very least, it's a cable company.
I don't know what they are anymore.
Christopher would like you to be on the podcast.
Let's ride.
Let's go. Oh yeah, I just did
in.
his. Yeah, it was fun.
I'd love to hop on.
Yeah,
Anytime I get to talk wrestling and shoot the shit.
Yeah,
I'm always in.
You should. More exposure. You know what I'm saying?
Just gotta tell me what belt you want me to bring.
So we're seeing some tensions rising in DIY again, which I am so here for. Oh my god. I'm not saying that I want DIY to break up necessarily, but heel Ciampa, baby. I'm into it. Okay. So DIY, I don't even disappointed me. Okay. Pretty Deadly was on, which I love. I'm obsessed. Okay. But they got taken out in 2 seconds by DIY, and something's going on with Ciampa. He's very frustrated. He is very mad that Motor City Machine Guns are back and they beat them for the titles, and now they're not even going to get the next shot at them or a rematch because the Street Profits have already gotten in line and talked to Nick Aldis.
Hell yeah.
What? Okay, so yeah, Motor City Machine Guns are doing exactly what we said that they were going to do, exactly what we wanted them to do.
Perfect.
So that's exciting.
Literally.
But what do you think the end game is with DIY? Because we know that Gargano and Ciampa had a legendary feud in NXT. One of the best or some of the best matches, I should say, in NXT history, if we're being fair to the Black and Gold era, because they had a lot of good matches. What do you think is the end game? Are they going to break them up? Are we going to see Gargano versus Ciampa? Is this just like temporary frustration? Like, what is it?
To me, it makes more sense to have them in the tag division.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more of a foreshadowing heel turn by DIY entirely.
They need a heel tag team, so it makes sense.
They what?
They need a heel tag team.
They need a heel tag team in the division. You can kind of count the Street Profits as like a heel.
A-Town Down Under and Pretty Deadly that are basically like the heel tag teams.
Pretty Deadly is pretty, yeah. So,
excuse me.
Not on television, I was going to say. I couldn't think of a better way to say that in a funny way. And when they are on television, they're getting squashed. We'll get better at our words. So,
stand and deliver.
He got pinned. They lost. Okay, they lost. But that's beside the point, Sarah. Okay, one of two ways that I see this is this going is obviously the better one for DIY, where they win tag team gold, they defeat Machine Guns, and they're the ones that do it. And I see that being obviously like a feud. I see that first real blood type of NXT Black and Gold reminiscent feud of a tag team. The tag team titles, I mean. And them winning it and whatnot and back and forth. Or it could be a way where, yeah, they win and whatnot. And it just, I just see them, the end. Hold on. There's a lot of thoughts. I see the end goal being that DIY will be turning heel at some point by this, because we already saw the tease of Johnny and Alex Shelley, and reminiscing backstage with, and then thanking him, oh, good lucky match, all this,
Yeah.
and Champ be like, what the hell, like they're our competitor, they're our enemy right now. They have what we want. So Johnny's gonna come to that realization, and want the gold. So we're going to see DIY and Motor City Machine Guns in some sort of feud. That's where my mind
I
goes.
think that is the best case scenario because, as I said, like they have a lot of tag teams on SmackDown, which is good, but they don't have heel tag teams. I wish that they could. I mean, I think DIY could become like the heel tag team. They just really have to go about it the right way because I feel like A-Town Down Under could be that team, but they're the way that they just don't feature them that much, people just don't care enough to hate them. You know what I mean? Like the way that they hate Dominic and or the Judgment Day, the way that they like hate Finn and
They don't
JD,
hate
it's like
them.
they need to go about it so much stronger than that. That's why I'm hoping, when we were talking about Kevin Owens, like that's why I hope that they keep going down that path because I think it will be like if he joined Bloodline 2.0 or something, that is the type of heat that they need to get on more guys, and it's not easy to do that, but they need to do it, especially in the tag team division, because otherwise it's like, why is anyone going to care about the tag team division if they like everybody? Like, you need somebody to cheer for and you need somebody to boo. There's a reason why both exist.
It's Wrestling 101.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just life also, like you
That's
don't
life.
But yeah, so then we talk about the women's tag team division, which we saw more of again because Bianca and Jade are doing double duty and are on everything. I mean, I guess you could say triple duty because they also were going to NXT at one point. But we saw Bianca and Jade versus Tiffany and Nia, but this was kind of chaotic because we saw Candice LeRae get involved. We saw Naomi get involved. So clearly they're cooking stuff up here. There's still tension with Tiffany and Nia, so it feels like the inevitable split is coming. I'm telling you, she's cashing in next month. I'm telling you right now.
Survivor Series.
No, I still think it's not going to be until December. I still think that they're going to want those replicas out. I'm telling you. I'm sticking to that. If I'm right, you're welcome. Because the replica briefcases don't come out until December. So I think they need to build it up more. We haven't really got to a point where it feels like, she needs to cash in right now. So it'll be like it's possible in the next like 2-3 weeks or whatever they can build that up, but it feels like it's coming. I think it would be interesting because she could even face Nia at the Royal Rumble for the title, and then we find out who. Well, because I mean the Royal Rumble winner could determine if she has a Mania match also. But I also don't know that they need to because I think the Elimination Chamber could do that for the women on SmackDown. Because like if Rhea returns and she's back for Rumble, she wins the Rumble to face Liv. That was something that people said. I prefer that than the alternative, which could be Charlotte returning and winning.
Has Charlotte Flair won? Yeah, she did. She won the 2020 Rumble.
She can face Tiffany without having to win the Rumble. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and if Tiffany's gonna win it, I would rather her win it before the Rumble, so it's not win the Rumble, one title defense maybe at Elimination Chamber, and then dropping it to Charlotte Flair.
I think no, she can't drop it. I think if she faces Charlotte at Mania, Charlotte loses.
Yeah, that's what we would want.
That has to be a role.
I mean, I don't know if that's gonna happen, brother.
She needs to know her place. Okay, you've already won the title like 14 times. Do you really need another time right now?
I'm going off of recent history. And
I know.
Really,
no, you don't have to say recent history. It's history in general. History in general.
Okay,
she does.
History in general.
There's not a single title she doesn't want. She's probably watch her come back and try to take the fucking mid-card title. Holy.
I saw that tweet actually. Someone did that. I can't. I will actually.
They better not.
No. I will. I want to have a more. Well, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah, no, she can't do mid-card, but we're gonna talk about it now. So
Boom.
predictably, as we have been saying for I think over a year now, at least on this YouTube channel, that the women's divisions needed to have mid-card titles. So everybody figured it out that was what Nick Aldis was going to be announcing on SmackDown, and that is when he presented the Women's US Championship. I don't understand why people are taking issue with the design. All of the women's designs are the exact same as the men's, just with a white strap.
It's called brand recognition.
But you know what else? This is the thing that I don't think people are thinking about, at least in my mind. To make it them, okay, so to make the men and women seem like they're on the same playing field, because we want to believe that that's what WWE thinks, even if they don't do much to prove that they actually believe that. The easiest way to do that is there's continuity between the titles. If you came out and you came in with a brand new, like, girly looking design for a women's mid-card title, you would be like, oh, why did they have to do all that? You know what I mean? Like, if all of the titles look drastically different than the men's, it's not going to look like they think of them as an equal. We needed to make it prettier, or it needed to be girlier. It's like, that was the whole issue we had with the Divas Championship. It was a butterfly, guys.
It was really bad. I was gonna say, yeah, no, the Divas one is really bad. Really bad. Continue.
Yeah. So I think that the design is fine. I don't understand why people were taking an issue with it. I'm like, no, that's how it should be. Like, the women's North American title in NXT, it made sense that they changed it made it so different, because the men's is kind of ugly, if we're being real. So like they just made it look normal. I wouldn't say it made it pretty, but like, anyway.
I'm looking up. I thought the women's North American looked like the exact same, but it was just a white strap.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Is it? I didn't know.
I'm not saying it's not nice.
It is. You're right.
Legit.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's red. It has red on the background.
See,
okay.
That's but you're not completely wrong. Like,
yeah,
the men's one with the red, it looked weird. It's not what we would usually see. So.
It's not the nicest looking championship. I think it's the brown strap that I think is what throws me off, because it's a brown strap. And I think that's why But anyway, see, like, that's the whole point, is like, you want it to look like this is just the women's division. That's why they have white straps instead of black. So you can see that there is a difference here, but it is equal to how we treat the men. So I don't see the problem. I think people are they're just being nitpicky. Care. But I am very excited that this is finally happening. I think this means it's inevitable that we're going to get a women's intercontinental championship introduced on Raw at some point, probably Netflix, or maybe this upcoming week. I don't know.
What if Adam Pearce just goes like, all right, you introduce a women's United States. I am introducing Intercontinental.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
I can see that. That'd be really funny.
I'm excited about this because I think, we've talked about this not even that long ago, but who we think should be the first if they were going to introduce them anytime soon. And I still think it should be Mia Yim, or Michin, or Chelsea Green, but I'm like 100% on board for it being Chelsea Green. Shout out to Michin, but girl, you're not as entertaining as Chelsea Green.
See, here's my thing. Okay. I want Michin to win it. Okay, and I want Chelsea Green. No, I want Chelsea Green to be the first feud with it. Not to beat her initially, but let's have them beef over it for like a couple months. That is a way to build up the title, because now you have Chelsea Green longing for it. And can you imagine what she's going to say, trying to go for it, you know what I mean? So I really, and we get to see the TNA reminiscence of the TNA days, and what their feud, you get the WWE fan who didn't get to see that.
And they didn't say how they, I mean, maybe I just missed it, but they didn't say anything about how they were going to name or like how they were going to give the first championship to somebody, right? Like they didn't say there was going to be a battle royal or like attorney or anything, right?
What? I'm sorry.
They
said nothing. They said nothing about.
So that's the thing too, is like we
nothing.
don't know how they're gonna go about this. I think a tournament is the best way.
Easy. Not battle royal. I don't want to see a battle royal.
I think it needs to be a tournament. And so I think that would be good. I think Chelsea has to be it, at least first or second. Maybe she doesn't have to be the inaugural champion, but she has to be in the conversation. And I think people would be able to digest that a bit better than her being like a women's champion, because even though we know that she is much more than what her character is on TV, a lot of people only know her because of her character on TV. So they can't accept the idea of her being women's champion. So yeah, then make her a mid-card champion, and like it would be incredible. Like she would, because like that's the thing, Michin has been a workhorse and she's been doing great and she's had some really good matches. And like, so in that regard, should she be the first champion? Absolutely. And if that's the case, then Chelsea has to be the one that takes it off of her, because she's too entertaining. Like something that I had said, and people have had talked about it when we brought the mid-card titles up before, was there was a concern about, because they hadn't historically treated the women's tag team division that well. There were concerns that would be how they would treat the mid-card championship. I think if you have someone like Chelsea Green being the mid-card champion, you don't have to worry about her not being on TV. Similar to what is going on with Bianca and Jade. They're gonna put them on TV every week anyway, so them being the women's tag team champions makes sense, because then they have the titles every single week. That to me is the easiest thing to do with the new title, putting it on Chelsea Green, at least at some point. You're gonna have her on TV, even if it's only in a funny backstage segment. So at least you're still seeing it and the title is relevant. Right?
Yes, exactly. It's relevant. So, you're getting, exactly. Yield redundancy.
So I think she should be in the tournament. Maybe she loses in the finals or something, and that's how she continues. Like, okay, I want my rematch and whatever, or I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm excited to see how they go about it, because I think that they have a good opportunity, and I think bringing an Intercontinental one on Raw is going to be fun too.
Agreed.
And then I just wanted to say this because my boy Giovanni Vinci was in a dark match before the show. I don't even think it was a speed match. I think it was just a match. So they spent all that money, on vignettes and advertising him and whatever. They're still having him go against Apollo Crews in dark matches, and they're still having him lose. At this point, I'm like, if you're not going to use him, can you just let him go? Like, if that's what he wants. Obviously I'm not saying fire him, like if he still wants to be there. But like, what are we doing? I don't understand when they do this kind of thing. Why do you spend money on making vignettes and like all hyping up somebody to then, because like, what could he have possibly have done to warrant being put into the doghouse, basically? Like, he's not a bad wrestler. He didn't like gain 50 pounds. He didn't
he lost a couple pounds at least.
Well, but you know what I mean? He didn't like say a racial slur or something to like get him canceled. Like he didn't.
Carlito hasn't been on TV in a bit.
But it's like I don't get it. So I am just free my man, okay? Because he deserves better, okay? And I actually, you know what? I want him to stay around until they can do those shows in Italy, but can you at least let him wrestle on TV? I mean, you used him to get those shows in Italy, and then you're like, all right, we good now. Like, no, come on.
I have a feeling, it's just a feeling, that there is just no place for him right now, which sucks.
But like, how? But the thing is, though,
how you can't, there's so much going on.
The problem I have is they should have had a plan for him when they were putting out those vignettes. when they had him re-debut. If you didn't have anything for him, then still keep him on the shelf. You know what I mean? Like, or create something for him so it made sense. Don't take him off TV after 2 weeks. Like, that's the problem that I have. Is like, it's almost like I was upset that, you know, he gets drafted to SmackDown, they split him from Imperium, and then he's like off TV. But like, I would have preferred you to keep him off TV longer if you weren't going to do anything with him, and bring him back once you did, because I think this is almost worse. Like, you did all of this to have him on TV for 2 weeks, and then what? That's the thing that's really
Lose
frustrating.
to Apollo Crews. That's all he's doing. I don't know. I don't know.
But anyway, that was SmackDown.
That was SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a decent show.
Mm-hmm.
One we didn't see Giovanni Vinci, and we saw a lot of the Bloodline. And you'll see a lot of us on Tuesday when we are back in the Yard of Streams for the Raw Rewind. What are you shaking your head? Are you still upset about Giovanni?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine then. Yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday for the Raw Rewind. What's gonna happen? I don't know. That's why I gotta come and find out. In the meantime, subscribe, hit that bell notification as well to know every time we post and go live. And also check us out in the links description below. I'm gonna say one account though that you should be following. All right, and it's our TikTok, No Nights Off Show. Is it No Nights Off Show there too?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
go check it out there. We're working on getting shit out there, and posting stuff, testing it, you know, because that's what happens. You elevate yourself when you get into new seasons in wrestling and in life. So go check us out there. And in the meantime, okay, thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you gotta do is try. See you on Tuesday. Bitches. Woo! Slap it.